So one of the times, whenever I was praying, I was taken to heaven, and Jesus met me, and he gives me a big hug.
Mm,
And
love that.
Jesus just very lovingly, he looks at me in the eyes, and he said, when you feel rejected,
Mm,
come here and play. Here you are accepted. And then I felt this thick gel just kind of starting to soak down over me. And I could just feel it was just this warm, thick gel that was just started at my head, and it just saturated me. And while I was feeling this, Jesus said, this gel soaks in and it fills in the hurts and the cracks
wow.
like you would an old wineskin. And he
Mm,
was just he wasn't in a hurry. He was just letting me just feel this gel come over me. And he said, it softens the hurts and the wounds.
hmm.
He says, come and get healed.
So good.
And it was so good. And he reminded me, he says, come, when you feel rejected, come here and play. And so I don't know how he does it, but he knows where you're at and what you're doing. So I
Hmm.
had these notes. I was reading over this note, this message right here. I had this in my lap, and I was looking at the water, and I was reading over that. And you can go back into those encounters, and I was just feeling that warm gel just soaking, and just saturating, the hurts and the wounds that you don't know that's there until you start feeling this. Like, oh, I feel so much better. But
Right.
I had these notes, and I was watching some children playing in the water, and a little boy was walking by the shore, and I was watching him. And when the children in the water see him, they start shouting out to him, and they start calling him, hey, Bobby, 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 come play with us. And he hears his name, and he perks up, and he starts running, and he jumps in the water and starts playing. And
Mm,
the Holy Spirit was saying the cloud of witnesses is the same way. They are
mm,
calling you to come play. Come play in heaven. When you feel rejected, if you feel lonely, if you feel hurt and wounded, come over, step over into heaven and play, and let him heal you.
mm.
Let him saturate your heart and heal your heart. And so, after this encounter of just being healed, I could come back to reality. And my heart was healed. I felt so healed and so loved
Mm,
and so accepted, even though the people around me, were still rejecting me because I go to heaven, you know. But you just the acceptance, and so I just want to encourage people that he wants to heal you. He wants to heal those hurts and
yes,
those wounds. And you are accepted in heaven.
absolutely. And we've been getting quite a few words lately about God wanting to set the captives free and
Mm.
break chains off and bondage off of people to prepare us for, the next season of our lives. And because there's such an increase here, and everyone has been saying it, the increase is here. It really is. And to me, this is just like a prerequisite of getting ready for the increase. Let's get, healed. Let's get set free. Let's get all
Yeah,
those bondages, healing and deliverance that we need so we can move forward in the increase that he has for us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're walking around and you don't and you feel rejected,
Hmm.
if you're feeling rejected, you portray that. People pick up on
Sure.
that, and they reject you because you have that spirit of rejection. And so
Right.
you're like, okay, well, see, they're all rejecting me. Well, no, it's because you're carrying a spirit of rejection, you know. And so
Right.
you get it off of you, and then it's funny because you can go around the same people, and they don't they don't reject you,
Hmm.
because you're not carrying that spirit of rejection, you know.
And I just want to confirm that about the angels playing and going to heaven and having fun, because probably one of the most powerful encounters I've ever had is when I was in a room here on earth, and all of a sudden I was taken into an open vision, eyes wide open, and people were
Mm.
getting healed and set free from a lot of bondages right in front of me. And since I'm a seer, I saw this, and angels were dancing and playing. They were clapping their hands. They were doing slapjack. They were doing backflips. And the more that people got healed and set free from their wounds, the more the angels danced and played
Wow.
around them. They were celebrating
Wow.
their healing. So it was wild. And I actually wrote a children's book out of it, and I just haven't published it yet. But it was so powerful to see the angels dancing and playing and celebrating over people more, when the greater the strongholds, the greater the wounds, the greater the people were getting set free, they were celebrating even more. So I mean, that it's such a lie of the enemy to hold on to shame, to hold on to guilt, to hold on to wounds, and God will never forgive me. No, heaven is waiting for you to be healed, to dance and celebrate over you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen the angels doing that in the throne room. You know, so you'd think they would be you know, but they're they don't. They dance and play, and yeah, absolutely. That's really good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
powerful. It just reminded me of that while you're sharing this.
Well, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Mhm.